Hey guys, it's a very exciting day for the world of technology today, the world of smartphones. Today, Samsung did announce their brand new Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus flagships. These are in direct competition with the iPhone 7 Plus and iPhone 7 and will compete with the upcoming iPhone 8 later this year. So I wanted to make a little recap of what we know about these devices. Samsung didn't make it fully clear about the specs at this event, so I wanted to talk about some of the things that Samsung didn't really even talk about at this event and just compare these two. Which one should you buy? Which one is a better suit for you? But of course, mostly talking about this guy. So these things are absolutely stunning. In the promos, all you see is display, just gorgeous screen, never-ending screen, and that's why Samsung is calling it the Infinity Display. It's the largest display on a smartphone of this size. So Samsung was very, very proud about that. Even though the display on this thing is 6.2 inches, it's larger than the 5.5 on the iPhone 7 Plus, it's going to be a smaller phone. And I think that's one of the most impressive things about it. They went through the entire phone, minimized all of the internals just to make this happen. So bezels, they're dying. I mean, that's the future trend in smartphones, and the Samsung Galaxy S8 is leading the war on bezels. And something interesting that they mentioned in the keynote was that you can't really tell where the display ends and the actual frame begins because they're blended so well. It's going to be a very seamless experience. So in my opinion, the iPhone 8 is going to be a lot like this because Samsung is introducing a lot of stuff that was rumored to happen on the iPhone 8. So these are going to be more of a true competitor than the 7 and the S8 right now. So the display is very, very beautiful, but better than that, the phone is going to be very comfortable to hold because of how small it is compared to the size of the iPhone 7 Plus. No longer is there a boxy screen. The phone just conforms to your hand as the screen can curve around those edges. And I absolutely love that. So the S7 is great. The S8 is going to take that even further. Now, both of these phones do have some amazing tech when it comes to displays. The Samsung Galaxy S8 has the latest generation Super AMOLED display, the iPhone LCD still. It's supposed to go to OLED next year, but still staying there. This one does have P3 color gamut though, which is nice. The Samsung Galaxy S8 does have HDR compatibility, which is also nice. So both have their own merits there, although the display, I mean, of course, the win goes to the Samsung Galaxy S8. It's huge, it's beautiful, rounded corners, it just looks absolutely sleek. It's years ahead technology-wise over the iPhone 7. So if the display is important to you, which is what you're going to be interacting with, the Samsung Galaxy S8 definitely wins that one. Not only that, but the resolution is much higher, 2960 by 1440. That is insane. It has a 529 pixel per inch density versus 401 on the iPhone 7 Plus with just a regular HD display. The iPhone is so far behind on that end. I mean, it's just kind of embarrassing for Apple, to be honest. As for materials, the aluminum is pretty much the same aircraft grade on the Samsung Galaxy S8, but the Gorilla Glass 5 is going to be very, very important. While the iPhone does have the dual ion display technology, the Gorilla Glass 5 is going to be very, very shatter resistant, and I cannot wait to do a drop test on those, compare those in real life. So it basically takes a lot of the tech from the Note 7 series, it incorporates into this. So the iris scanner, the Gorilla Glass 5, and so on. So the question remains, what happened to the home button? It's no longer on the front of the phone, but Samsung quickly addressed this that, of course, they did put it on the back of the phone. So the fingerprint sensor is here. Now that's because they no longer really need it. They incorporated it into the software, which they said, by the way, was built ground up for the Infinity Display. It was made to blend seamlessly with the display, the depth and everything like that was built around the Infinity Display, which I thought was kind of cool sounding, so let's see how it works. But the home button now is replaced with a pressure-sensitive software one. So 3D Touch technically is incorporated into the S8, but only on the bottom row. So you'll be able to press into it. It does recognize force, and I'm sure it does have an upgraded taptic engine or vibration motor inside to replicate a real home button. Pretty much the software and 3D Touch home button replaces that. And as far as security goes, Samsung isn't really counting on you to use the fingerprint sensor that much. That's why the uncomfortable position in the back doesn't really matter, because it does have iris scanning now. So you'll be able to scan your eyes just like on the Note 7, as well as facial recognition. So this is the new future. It's faster and more secure compared to traditional touch recognition. So Samsung is looking towards the future by removing the home button, placing it on the back, and focusing more on more secure options. And getting to the camera, multi-frame processing on the Samsung Galaxy S8 is a feature that combines multiple pictures into one, making the perfect image. It's not a new feature, but Samsung is incorporating it into the S8 this time around. Also, 12 megapixel is the sensor size for both of these, so you're going to get the same size of image, but the quality of course will still differ. The Samsung Galaxy S8 is a generation ahead of the iPhone 7 Plus, and it does have a slightly wider aperture at 1.7 versus 1.8 of the iPhone 7 Plus, so low light pictures should be slightly better. That's even what Samsung was bragging about in the keynote. It was rumored that the Samsung Galaxy S8 would get a 1000 frame per second option for slow-mo. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It does have 240 now, matching the iPhone 7 Plus at 720p. So although the camera does sound good on the Samsung Galaxy S8, the iPhone 7 Plus still has a couple advantages. So it does have the quad LED flash on the back that's true tone and adjusts to the color temperature of your environment, which is awesome. The Samsung Galaxy S8 still has one LED flash. I mean, it's very powerful, but it's 1 versus 4 here. The iPhone 7 Plus does also have the dual lens setup, which means you can have optical zoom, real zoom up to 2 times, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S8 just has digital zoom up to 8. The Samsung Galaxy S8 does have one great advantage in the front-facing camera. So not only is the field of view much wider now, it's 8 megapixel, one more than the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, but it's also autofocus enabled. So it recognizes faces and it has real autofocus on a front-facing camera, something Apple cannot compete with at this point in time. And getting into the performance of the Samsung Galaxy S8, it's a full generation ahead of the iPhone 7. So it's not even that fair to compare these, as it's using the new 10 nanometer structure. It's much more efficient. It's not as powerful, which is surprising. A generation ahead, but the iPhone 7 in terms of actual scores is still going to outdo it. The Snapdragon 835, which powers the Samsung Galaxy S8, is still not as powerful as Apple's last generation processor. Apple's always been very good at their optimization, and their own in-house processors are amazing. Unfortunately, the Exynos series processors on the Galaxy won't be available in the United States, which really sucks, as those usually turn out to be more powerful and faster versus Snapdragons. But there's still some advantages that Snapdragon has over Exynos, and I won't get into that into this video because I'm just focusing on US variants. Now, both phones are now at 2.35 gigahertz. The iPhone 7, of course, is on the last structure at 14 and 16 nanometers, so it's not as efficient as the Snapdragon, but it is more powerful. The Samsung Galaxy S8 does have 4 gigabytes of RAM, whereas the 7 Plus has 3. However, Android does need more RAM, so this pretty much evens out here. As far as storage goes, the Samsung Galaxy S8 only comes in one size, and that's 64 gigabytes, because it has expandable storage. Now, the very surprising thing here is that some models in some countries will have a dual SIM slot. So you will be able to get 2 completely different SIM cards and services in the same phone. That is amazing, actually. Now, one of those will be replaced with a micro SD, so you kind of do have to choose. Do you want 2 SIM cards, or do you want 1 SIM card and 1 SD card? And the S8 beat the iPhone to Bluetooth 5.0. So this is the new standard. It's much more efficient. The range is better. The transfer speeds are better. So the iPhone 7 only has 4.2 at this point, which is very important when streaming, high quality audio, which this one does have. And this is especially important because the Samsung Galaxy S8 will come bundled with AKG earbuds. This is a very reputable sound brand. They've got some good stuff. These are worth $99 on their own, but Samsung is throwing them in the package with the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. That is actually pretty cool. That's like Apple throwing in AirPods if they were worth $100 with the iPhone. Unfortunately, they're not. They're more, but you guys get the point. And battery-wise, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a 3500 milliamp battery on the Plus and a 3000 on the regular. Now, for comparison, on the iPhones, they're really not that big. The iPhone 7 Plus has a 2900 milliamp battery. That's smaller than the standard size, the S8. So, although batteries are bigger, it's unknown how they will perform in real life. Samsung doesn't really give complete battery estimates here, so we'll have to see in real-world performance, but Samsung's have never been that good against the iPhones. But then again, it really depends on your usage. And of course, with the whole Note 7 debacle, Samsung wants to ensure you that they've got this under control. They've got a new 8-point check on their battery, so they're not going to be selling you something that's going to combust or explode. And in earlier leaks of the Galaxy S8, there was a button on the side. Now we know what it does, and that's for the Bixby Assistant. So that's pretty much like Siri having its own dedicated button on the iPhone. I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, I would hate to trigger that in my pocket as Siri even goes off for me all the time on accident, but that's what that extra button is for. And several other little things. So Samsung Pay is expanding to a bunch of bigger banks because of the S8. There's new Samsung Home, so a lot like HomeKit, you're going to be able to incorporate it into your home and get a whole bunch of smart appliances and things like that working with your Galaxy S8. And something very interesting that I think a lot of people would appreciate, Samsung didn't mention at their event, is that the Samsung Galaxy S8 will come with dual audio. You will be able to hook up two Samsung Galaxy S8s together and stream the same audio. So it's a lot like features that Bluetooth speakers have where you can connect them simultaneously and get really, really loud sound. I think that's really awesome. I would love to see something like that on the iPhone. There are 5 colors which look really good. My favorite is Midnight Black, so this is just like jet black. It'll look very, very good in comparison. In the leaks that I've seen, I mean, this thing looks absolutely stunning. So if I were to get one, that would be the choice I would take. So it releases on April 21st, and it's pretty much everything we expected it to be. You know, I did talk about the leaks earlier, and this thing really wasn't any different. It didn't surprise me in any way. It was everything that the leaks said it would be. So, you know, watching this event, you're kind of just sitting there like, oh, I already knew that. I knew that, yeah. But anyways, it's still a great event. You know, this thing is stunning. It is such a sexy, sleek phone. It looks like the future. It makes all other phones look dated. Just comparing the curved edge display to the iPhone 7 Plus blocky design of the display, I don't know, it's so far behind already. So makes you appreciate the competitiveness between these companies, because if iPhone was on top, nobody would ever compete with it. Nobody would force it to change their design, change anything about it. So competition is a good thing, guys. And I cannot wait to get the S8 in hand. I will be doing all my tests, speed tests, camera tests, everything for you on this channel. Thanks for watching, guys. As far as which one you should buy, that's a tough choice. At this point in time, the newest phone, the one that's far ahead technologically wise, is the S8. Usability, that's a whole different question we're going to have to answer in another video, but just from a get most for your money, bang for the buck, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has to be it. Of course, that display, it's just a killer. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Peace.